What's up, dudes? I'm the Dominicator, and in this video, I'm gonna hypnotize you to become a statue. As in all of my videos, you'll be asked to leave a comment at the end while hypnotized, so go ahead and log into an account that you can use for that. Mute any distractions, and continue when you're ready to get hypnotized. Alright, dudes, so to begin, I just want you to look at the pattern in front of you, and to focus and to fixate your attention on the very center of it. And just listen to the sound of my voice. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, you'll notice what a pleasant and a relaxing tone that it has. And now it just seems to relax you the more that you listen to it. And as you do, you'll find that with each and every word that I say, it's just like a little drip drop of relaxation and heaviness that drips down and drops down on top of your body and on top of your mind as well. It just seems to draw out and drain out all of the stresses and tensions inside of each and every single muscle fiber in your body and inside of your mind as well. There's a feeling of heaviness that builds up inside of your mind that at the same time just feels so good. It's a wonderful, pleasant, and mind-melting feeling of all the cares and worries in your mind just melting away, dripping down and dropping down inside of you. It feels so good that the more that you listen to the sound of my voice, the better that it feels. And at the same time, it feels as if a little substance along the sound of my voice and that heaviness, as it drips down and drops down on top of the muscle fibers of the body, just making them heavier and more relaxed. It also has a feeling of a wonderful warm and masculine dominance about it as it drips down and drops down on top of your body, on top of the muscles in the body. And in fact, the more that it does so, the more that you can feel a pulling, magnetic feeling that comes over the body and the mind. The more that I speak to you, the more that you feel that feeling, the more that you feel a feeling, that wonderful warm and masculine dominance, as it wraps around the muscles, as it wraps around the mind. A magnetic and a pulling feeling that makes the body want to, and the mind want to follow the suggestions that I give. And as I speak to you now, as you feel heaviness from each and every single word that I say, little tiny drip drops of heaviness and of relaxation, it feels as if there's a connection between the sound of my voice and your body and your mind as well. And the more, in fact, that you feel that connection, the better that you feel, the more you feel wonderful and a blissful, mind-melted state wash over you, with all the thoughts just becoming so heavy that you don't even want to keep them up in your mind at all. All the muscles in your body just so very heavy that they all just relax more and more, even more deeply, with each and every single word that I say. They just continue to relax more and more. And the more, in fact, that you notice stresses and tensions in the body, the more that they relax. They relax so much that you might find yourself reclining, relaxing, laying down in a position of least resistance, slumping over, and just relaxing so much and so deeply, so comfortably, that you slip down and go down and drop down even further and even faster into a wonderful and an even sleep-like state. And in a moment's time, I'm going to snap my fingers. When I do, then you'll feel a shock, a snap, that will just wash over you in an instant. A snap that will just snap you down into an even deeper, even more dreamlike state. A dreamlike state, as if inside of a dream, my words were pulling and tugging your body and mind along, just like a magnet. And yet, it's nothing that you have to worry about at all. All that you have to do is just to enjoy that wonderful and pleasant feeling of that magnetism as it draws the body and the mind along with it. You can feel a feeling of sleepiness, even right now, as it begins to well up inside of you, as it begins to build up inside of you. And at any moment, with a snap of my fingers, you'll snap down into a completely and totally relaxed, mind-melted state. And now getting ready, and sleep. Sleep as you go down, drop down, sink down, and drift down, even deeper into that wonderful, mind-melted, completely and totally relaxed and passive state. It just feels so good. It feels so good just to feel the sound of my voice wrapping around each and every single muscle and muscle fiber in the body, just relaxing you even more. And you feel as if you're in a catatonic state, as if you're in an almost paralyzed state. A feeling of such heaviness that's washed over your body from the sound of my voice, and nothing wants to move at all. Then all you want to do is just remain in that completely and totally relaxed state, with the sound of my voice pulling and tugging, jerking, magnetizing your body and your mind as well. The more that it does so, the better that you feel. The better that you feel, and the more that you enjoy that pulling, that tugging, that magnetic sensation. And the more that you feel a feeling of an out-body experience, as if your body isn't even under your own control. It's as if it is falling under the control of my voice, and of that wonderful, warm, and masculine dominant presence that's settled down inside of your body, inside of the muscles of your body. And yet it just feels so good. It feels so good. All you want to do is just to give in to that feeling, and just to surrender to that feeling. It just feels so good, that wonderful, mind-melted and relaxed feeling all over the body, and all over the mind. The more that you just relax to it, and into it, the better and better that you feel. You don't have to think about anything else at all. All that you have to do is just to allow that feeling of magnetism from the sound of my voice and my suggestions just to take over each and every muscle fiber in the body, and just to sink down into a wonderful and mind-melted and blissful state of surrender. As you just continue to sink down and to settle down into the sound of my voice, you feel as if your muscles are like putty that's being molded and shifted and shaped by my voice, by my suggestions, and by my commands as well. It feels so good to feel that magnetic and tugging, pulling sensation. Now in a moment I'm going to snap my fingers again. And when I do, then your eyes will open. They'll be drawn instantly back into the pattern on the screen in front of you. And you'll find out that you feel such a strong and magnetic force, that pulling sensation, that it pulls your gaze right into the center of it. And that, even if you try, then you won't be able to look away. And in fact, the more that you try resisting, the more that it just pulls your gaze in, the more that it just pulls your eyes in, the more that it seems to pull out your very will and your very thoughts. And yet, it just feels so good as it happens. And as it happens, I'll give you suggestions, commands, and ways in which the muscles of your body and your mind should move. And you'll find and feel that you feel such an overpowering magnetic force about them that your body and your mind just move all by themselves to follow those suggestions. If I say, for example, to flex, or if I say to freeze, then the body will just seem to automatically and involuntarily all by itself follow those suggestions and commands as if it had a mind of its own. And now in a moment, I'll snap my fingers. When I do, a snap will shock you back up, and your eyes will be drawn to the center of that pattern, and you'll listen to the sound of my voice for any suggestions, any commands that I give you. And now, eyes open, and gaze deep into the center of the pattern. As you do, you feel a pulling, a tugging, a magnetic sensation that draws your mind right into it. And in fact, you can feel the effect of my voice, and so much more powerful than before. And even now, as you listen to it, you can feel your muscles as they begin to move into a flexing position. Starting now, your muscles are flexing all by themselves. Your biceps are flexing all by themselves. They're flexing all by themselves, moving into a flexed position just as if you were a bodybuilder. And now, freeze. As you freeze in place like a statue with flexed muscles. And as you freeze there in place, you feel just like a statue, completely and totally blank, completely and totally paralyzed, by my influence, the sound of my voice, my suggestions and my commands. It just feels so good to be a statue. And now, in a moment, I'll snap my fingers when I do. I'll say the word sleep, and when I do, then you'll just plop down, go down, drop down, slump down into a completely and totally relaxed, passive and obedient state, ready to follow and to obey any suggestions or commands that I give you now. Sleep. Sleep. It feels so good just to sleep, just to drop down, to sink down, to go down into that wonderful, wonderful mind-melted state of surrender. The more that you do so, the better that you feel, the better that you feel. And in fact, the less and less that you find that you can resist the sound of my voice, the suggestions, the commands that I give you. And that just feels so good. The more that happens, the better and better that you feel. The better that you feel, the more you can feel that wonderful warm and masculine dominance that wraps around your mind. It wraps around your mind just like a vice, making you want to and need to follow and obey each and every suggestion, each and every command that I give you. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers again. Once I do, and your eyes will be drawn back towards the center of that pattern, and you'll find that your gaze is magnetized towards it so much you can't even look away. And now getting ready to come back up. And now, gaze into the center of the pattern. Gaze into it. Gaze into it as your face relaxes, as your rest of your body relaxes, even though your eyes are drawn even further towards it, as it draws out each and every thought and idea in your mind. As it draws out each and every thought and idea in your mind, as your face relaxes, as your jaw relaxes so much. And now, freeze in place as the pattern draws out each and every single thought and idea in your mind, completely and totally frozen, just like a statue. Completely and totally frozen, just like a statue, with no thoughts at all, unable to move the body at all. All that you can do is to gaze right into the center of that pattern, and all that you can do is to remain frozen as a statue, as the sound of my voice, as my presence and dominance and influence continues to exert its control over you. It feels so good. So good that at any moment you could just snap back down into a completely and totally relaxed, passive and obedient state. An obedient state, completely in sleep-like and dream-like state with a snap on my fingers and the word sleep. Now, sleep. Sleep as you slump down, fall down, and drop down even deeper into a completely and totally relaxed state. Completely and totally relaxed, all of the muscles in the body, just like rubber bands, just like putty. Just sinking deeper, melting down deeper with the sound of my voice. It just feels so good, completely and totally relaxing into that wonderful, warm and masculine dominant presence. Dropping down into a wonderful and smooth sensation from the sound of my voice, as it just wraps around you, even tighter and tighter with each and every single word that I say. And in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers once again. And then once again, you'll come up all the way. You'll find that your eyes are drawn towards the center of the pattern in front of you, and that even if you try, that you can't look away. You'll be completely and totally locked on it, and that you'll follow, that the body will follow automatically and voluntarily the suggestions, the commands I give you. Getting ready now, and up. And now gaze into the pattern. Gaze into it as it draws out and drains out all of your thoughts, and each and every single little last drop of your very will. Man, now, as your arms begin to draw in closer to each other, as you begin to flex in a different position, flexing the chest and flexing the arms out in front of you, getting into a flexing position now, freeze, and as you do, you feel a washing wave of cement over your body as you become a statue. And as you're completely and totally locked into place, completely and totally paralyzed as a statue, as you gaze into the center of the pattern, as each and every single thought and each and every single drip-drop of will is just drawn out and drained out of you. And yet it just feels so good just to be a mindless statue. That the more that you exist in this state, a flexed bodybuilding statue, the better that you feel. And it's strange how, even though you feel like a statue with cement completely washed over you, that you feel a flexing feeling in the body, a feeling of a wonderful, warm and masculine, dominant tension and stress, a good and positive tension and stress in the muscles that needs to be released, and that needs to be worked out. You feel a desire to want to feel that flexion even more, to feel that flexion lifting weights in the gym. Something that just feels so good. A feeling, a desire, an excitement, and enthusiasm that just sets over your mind, washing over all of the mind-melted thoughts that you once had. But now get ready to slip back down, to slump back down, to fall back down to a completely and totally relaxed, passive, mind-melted state. And now, sleep, sleep. Sleep as you sink back down, as you fall back down, as you slump back down into that completely and totally relaxed, passive, and obedient state, in which you feel even tighter and tighter with each and every word that I say, and each and every passing moment, that warm and masculine dominant feeling and force that wraps around your mind. In a moment, in a little while, I'm going to bring you back up into the waking world. I'll bring you back up into the waking world on the count from 1 to 3. And this time, when I do wake you up, you'll find your body, your mind moving all by themselves to leave a comment for me. You'll leave a comment that says, I got hypnotized to become a statue. And whenever you do leave that comment, then all of a sudden and all at once, you'll feel an energy, a flow return to your body and your mind, a feeling of control that returns back into you. And you might not even remember anything at all. You might not even recognize the comment that you left. And if you don't, you might be tempted to comment on that comment. And it will seem and feel amusing, so amusing that you won't want to remove it at all, but instead it will leave you with a good, a happy, a positive, a fulfilled feeling of knowing that you got hypnotized to become my statue. It just felt so good to be a statue. And now I'll count you up from 1 to 3, and as I do, you're going to feel a lightness come back into the muscles of your body that takes you back up and directs you to leave that comment. Now beginning with 1, as you feel that lightness as it comes from the sound of my voice and curls around the muscles of your body, bringing you back up even more. And now 2, coming up even farther and even faster, just feeling so good as you do so. Then now 3, eyes open, then wide awake. Alright dudes, like, subscribe, and check out Dominicator.com to visit my digital download store. Drop me a tip, or to schedule an appointment with me to get hypnotized. Catch you later dudes.